This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, Albert Lorenzo, LightBlindedFool, the Amyrlin Seat, Green Man, and Kristen Gilreath. We'd also like to thank and acknowledge Alex L. and Ashley Varga for renewing their annual subscription on patreon.com/thewhaleweavespodcast. Thank you so much for your generosity and continued support. We really appreciate it. Plus, before we move on today, we want to thank and welcome Brandon Connor and Hein Larson to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your support and your generosity. We really couldn't do this without you. In this episode, we're talking about Chapter 17 and 18 of The Path of Daggers.
Yeah, so Chapter 17 is Out on the Ice, and Chapter 18 is A Peculiar Calling. Yeah.
Lots of glaring. So much glaring.
There is.
Glaring.
I was going to say, it seems like it's set up. Like, we get some... Egwene's doing things.
Yep.
Secretly.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of her master's secret plan.
Yep. That
it seems like not many people, including Swan, are even privy to.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it all.
It's like we're getting there. Real soon, maybe.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at these chapters.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to, sometimes with these kind of like,
No, I feel like they were short enough. There was a description of things.
Yeah.
Weren't necessary in my opinion.
Sure.
But I'm curious to see, like, her plan. And I kind of like the Egwene scheming stuff. And so I was just curious to see, was I over the top thrilled and surprised? Not really. I thought it might be something maybe a little grander.
For sure.
But
I like the Egwene
I like
scheming.
The subtleness.
Yeah, I like it from Egwene's perspective too, because then you also have the unreliable narrator of Egwene.
Thinking how people are taking things.
Yeah, and it's like, maybe she's not the best at reading everyone, so.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, and now I asked you.
You did, just a second ago.
I think I know what your fun fact might be.
Which is...
Or at least, here's the thing. If I was in charge of fun facts, I know what I would choose the fun fact to be.
Sure.
Because it's a fun fact. And I feel like you've been straying away from the fun lately.
Well,
and
we have different definitions of fun.
And so, let's see. If you don't share what I have to share, then when we get into the chapter, I have some things to share.
I want you to tell me what
nope.
Okay.
You gotta tell me yours first.
Fine, okay. So here we go.
Okay, tell me the, title of your fun fact, and I'll, give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Okay, the title, if you can call it a title for my fun fact today, is How Long Does It Take for a Lake to Freeze?
Oh, that is not fun.
It's so fun!
Not compared to my fun fact.
Oh, because I answered, I think it's pretty fun. Because this chapter's called Out on the Ice.
You know what? It would be fun. Lake. It would be fun if we were going skating or playing hockey or doing some recreational activity. That's fun.
I'm concerned about the timeline, and is it reasonable to assume that this ice is thick enough in the very few days that it's been snowing that all these people don't just fall through the ice and die?
It's been max 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, and that's what we got. I got the math, I got the science behind it.
Yeah.
And we're going to dig into this fun fact.
Okay.
It's fun.
So now because... You know what? Cool. That's cool. Let's dig into that. And then later, we'll have a fun time with my fact.
I was going to say, let the people judge, but don't. Don't let them judge. Okay. So, the question, how long does it take a lake to freeze?
Yep.
So, the real question is, how thick does ice need to be to walk on it? Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to do things in inches. So... For one person to walk on ice, it usually should be between 4 to 6 inches. Okay. For a group of people, it's recommended 8 inches. Snowmobiling, 10 inches. Cars or small trucks, 12 inches. Or anything bigger than that, 15 to 20 inches of ice.
Okay.
And that's safety purposes, and that's from reputable sources of ice safety. And being from Canada, we got some good sources here.
Absolutely. Yeah, we go out on the frozen lake all the time.
Definitely. Yeah. So, we've got to figure out how this... Because we don't have any... it's not a big truck or anything. But we've got at least 20 Aes Sedai, plus extras.
Yeah.
We've got probably another 1 to 2 dozen nobles, servants, horses, a pavilion, furniture. There's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
So, I need you to spot check me on this, on how thick should the ice be? Are we talking like maximum? Because I was thinking like 12 inches for the car or small truck, or, maximum 15, 20 for anything bigger.
I would say anywhere between 12 and
20 would be
inches,
okay.
Yeah.
Would be reasonable.
12 would be like the minimum.
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question.
And it depends, like, the Aes Sedai aren't, because we also know,
yeah.
for some people who don't live in cold climates, if you fall through ice, or if you're going out to save someone who's fallen through thin ice, you're supposed to get down, spread your body weight out, and you're supposed to roll.
Yeah, don't ride your horse out onto the lake.
So do you think that the Aes Sedai are getting down on the lake horizontal?
Or spreading out. So I got ice science
rolling across the lake.
No, I don't think they're doing that.
Okay.
I don't.
Shoot, because that's not described. They get out there?
There's some information I don't have. I don't have temperatures. I don't have exact time frames. I don't have weights. So it's really hard to actually figure out. But I got factors that we can think about here. So it's at best been 20 days since the Cloud Bowl has been used.
Okay.
From what we can kind of figure right now, the hard part is we don't really have hard timestamps from Egwene's perspective with the sky weirdness, but we've got references to 10 days, 7 days. It's been 2 months since Matt got dropped off in Abu Dar, right? So it's kind of weird.
We don't know how long they were looking.
Exactly.
They were in Abu Dar for. So
that's what I'm thinking. Estimating it's been about 10 to 20 days probably since the Cloud Bowl was actually used.
I'd say longer.
You'd say longer? More than 20 days?
No, longer than 10.
Okay.
Because 10 is 1 week for them.
Yes.
And 1 week after, we know from Perrin's point of view.
Yes.
It was just starting to kind of rain and thunder.
That's the hard part.
And we got the whole, it was raining, and then it was storming, and then it got cold, and then it started snowing.
Yes. So there's more factors, and don't worry. So based on a few studies, once there is a thin layer of ice, film, that's formed on the surface of a lake, it adds about 1 inch of ice for every 15 freezing degree days, which are referred to as FDDs. Okay? So 1 inch for every 15 freezing degree days. Now, how to figure out what a freezing degree day is, there's some math involved. So anybody who wants to follow along, this is how you do it. So you find out how much ice was frozen that day, and the way you do that is you take the average temperature of the day in Fahrenheit, and then subtract that from the degree at which water freezes, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So to give you an example, if the high is 30 and the low is 24, the average for today would be 27 degrees Fahrenheit. And then 32 as the average for water freezing, minus the 27 as the average temperature, then that would equal 5. So today, net 5 FDDs. So today, the ice would freeze
5 inches?
No, a third of an inch. Because for every 1 inch, for every 15 FDDs. So if it's 5 out of 15, it's a third. So it'd be a third of an inch that froze.
Sure. We're all following you and just trusting you
here's the thing.
Because I'm not taking my notepad out and starting to do a bunch of math.
So here are the factors that you have to think about. Number 1 is that it needs to get really cold, and then it's got to stay really cold.
Okay, so the bottom line is this actually thick enough to hold the people?
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I'm
bored of your fun facts.
To create the ice quickly, it's got to be cold.
You're making me do math.
And it's got to stay cold.
Yeah.
And then this only applies once the ice film starts to form on the lake.
Yeah.
And if it's only been 20 days, it's not looking so good yet.
Because
however,
all of the water body, or most of the water body, also has to drop in temperature before the ice starts.
So here's the thing. Ice is also thicker in the middle of a lake, which is actually in favor of us. Because it depends on the depth of the water.
Yeah.
But there's some things that help ice form.
Because I have been out in the middle of the lake and then walking to the edge, almost fallen through at the edge.
Yes, you got to be extra careful there. Yeah. So, anyways, some things that help ice form are things like slight to moderate wind, no snow on the ground, and clear skies, because those things help pull heat out of the water.
Okay, and we know that's not been the case.
It's been the opposite.
Yeah.
Basically, where it's been stormy, it's been blizzarding, there's tons of snow, it's not good, so that's actually hurting it. So, the best way to think of this, and the best way I could judge, is that if we need 12 to 20 inches, in my very non-professional opinion of ice formation, I'm going to judge that it's not exactly impossible, because there's still the magic element, but it's risky. So definitely not compliant to workplace safety standards.
Oh.
Mm-hmm, okay, so I'm gonna give my opinion. They should call it in, not safe.
So here's the thing. This is from Egwene's point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's possible that before the 18 Aes Sedai walked out, or 20 Aes Sedai walked out on the ice,
Sure.
somebody did some channeling
Sure.
to thicken the ice.
However, the Andorrans and Mirandians were already there
They're
setting
already
up.
there set up, but like to add their weight to it,
Yeah. Yep.
maybe they reinforced it
I'm
magically.
just saying it's a little bit risky, but we don't have temperatures, we don't have time frames, we
Okay.
don't have weights. So that's why I
As
say
fun as that was.
cautious.
Okay. So not a definite answer.
Well, I can't say I don't have all the factors.
It feels to me as though no.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That's why I like to go with the magically reinforced.
Sure. And that's why I said I don't know how the magic plays into it. So, but anyways, risky, don't do it.
Yeah, and specifically, they picked that so that more people couldn't be out there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, maybe they had those instruments where you put it down and you measure the thickness of the ice.
Very possible.
That's a thing.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they did that.
Yeah.
I don't know, though.
Okay.
Of all the things for RJ to leave out.
Yeah.
Come on.
Goodness. Okay. So now, last time we were here, Gareth Bryn had informed Egwene and Swan about the army of Andorrans and Mirandians marching towards them. And then Egwene started some scheming business and arranged a meeting with the Andorran nobles.
Yeah.
And we also have Romonda and Lelaine.
Yep.
Lelani?
I say Lelaine.
Lelaine.
Yeah.
People are laughing at my pronunciation
okay.
of things.
RNL. Yeah.
Anyway, they're mad.
Yes.
They're
not
upset.
happy. Yep.
They're not happy, as per usual.
Yeah. They want to be in control.
Yeah. We also have Halima up to some shady business.
Yep.
And we have Sheriam, who has us raising some eyebrows in her direction.
Okay.
Involved with something, being beaten and questioned.
Yeah. I don't remember where he really landed on that whole,
Not really anywhere at all.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
The thing that I was thinking the most probably is because Delana is a sitter, correct? Because she's with them here.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
assume that Delana's a sitter.
Yeah.
And the last thing that Sheriam thought at the end of last chapter was she wishes she never even spoke to a sitter.
Yeah, she did. I mean, that was a pretty loosey-goosey sentence in itself.
It was.
Okay.
But specifically, Delana, who is a Black Aja,
Sure.
and Halima is beating Sheriam. Or no, we don't know it's Halima.
We don't know it's Halima.
Yes, yeah, I would just assume.
Yeah. Because we had that whole conversation of, like, if it is Halima, is it Halima looking like Halima? Or is she doing, like, Forsaken disguise power stuff?
Yeah, also that.
There's a lot of question
There's
marks
a lot
about
of
that.
things. However, it is clear that Sheriam is doing some spying.
Yeah.
Most likely, probably, definitely on Egwene.
Yes,
they
because
said
that wasn't clear.
No, but they said the girl.
Yeah, yeah.
And who else here?
But I mean, to be fair,
the
everyone's
girl.
spying on Egwene right now, too.
Everybody
so
is.
Everyone is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
No.
literally
But,
everyone.
Yeah, but Sheriam is supposed to be reporting
Right.
new and different information
Yeah.
to somebody, isn't doing a good enough job of it, and got beaten.
Yes.
And so we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see
All
whether
right.
she's on the bad side of it or the decent
Yeah.
side of it and got roped in
Like,
in
bad
a bad
situation. Yeah, fair. Okay.
Either way, I'm going to keep
Question
my
marks.
eye on that.
Okay.
Okay. So, chapter 17, Out on the Ice.
Yeah.
That might not be thick enough.
The questionable ice.
Magically reinforced ice.
Yes.
Okay. The chapter symbol is the Flame of Tarvalon, because I said I. And no surprise to anyone, we're starting in an Egwene perspective. So it is the next morning after all of the scheming and being yelled at and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
The whole crew that is set to attend this meeting is riding out in a giant column out of the Aes Sedai camp, and it's slow going, and that's definitely how the chapter starts.
Yeah.
It feels very slow going.
It's a slow ride.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so now we do get a note that it is the Feast of Abram,
Okay. Was that what
Today-
your fun fact was?
sort of.
Okay.
Yes
okay.
and no.
Okay.
Not no.
Sort of yes.
Not yes, but no.
I have a parallel for it, but I didn't do that as my
Okay,
fun
so
fact.
not Feast of Abram. However, Egwene notes that there's not going to be any surprises baked into honey cakes today.
Oh.
And so my very fun fact
Okay.
is about fun festivals and cake eating.
Okay.
Isn't
all right.
that so fun?
That's pretty fun.
That's the most fun thing you can do in your whole life is have a fun festival and
That's
eat cake.
true. That's
So-
true. Hide things in food so people eat it by accident.
Yeah, so do you know what this is referring to off the top of your head?
The honey cakes? The baked surprises? No, I don't.
Okay, so the first thing that I thought of, that I know of, is during Mardi Gras,
Okay.
they bake a circular cake,
Yeah.
like a ring, that's called a king cake, and it's served at a Mardi Gras celebration, and there is a tiny plastic baby
What?
baked into the cake.
Okay.
And now, whoever is served the slice of cake with the baby, tradition dictates that finding the baby in your cake symbolizes luck and prosperity, and the finder becomes the king or queen of the evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
No, that's good. The parallel for the Feast of Abram is probably reference to the story of Abraham in the book of Genesis, because he was first called Abram, and he was renowned for his hospitality towards traveling strangers.
Ah.
And that's clearly, like, she's expecting, some hospitality, and they do not receive it here.
Okay, that's why she keeps referring. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, this festival must be huge in the Two Rivers, because
a big
Egwene
one.
is very upset that nobody is taking this seriously.
Doing nothing for nobody here.
Yeah.
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 Yep, okay, so there you go.
And I'm sure there's a million other references to why you hide
probably.
surprises in cake.
Probably.
But that's the one I know of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Egwene also thinks to herself, hopefully there will be some surprises today.
Yeah. Because secret plan.
Because secret plan,
Yeah.
she's going to surprise some people.
Yeah.
Okay, so Egwene clearly isn't going to be listening to Ramonda and Lelane's instructions on telling her to let them do all the talking
Yeah,
at the
she's
meeting.
supposed to, like, pick one.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And then we get a recap on the weather.
Yep.
It's cold and snowy.
Mm-hmm. Not cold enough for
And
a lot of
windy.
ice. Yep.
And windy.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a description of the super impressive column of people riding out. And we also learn that Uno is leading the Shineran army. And I just wrote, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah, that
specifically,
guy.
pretty much the last time we saw him, he was thinking about staying because Bryn wanted him to train the heavy cavalry.
Yeah.
Because he's got the experience, and
Yeah.
now he's leading the 1,000 heavy cavalry.
There we go.
He's moving up.
So not just the Shineran army.
No, there wasn't there was like a couple of Shineran dudes.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said he's leading Shineran army. That's wrong.
No, he's leading the heavy cavalry of Bryn's army.
Okay.
Yes, because he trained them.
So that's what that guy's
That's
up
what's
to.
happening. Yeah. Plus, there's another 1,000 who are out scouting about because,
Because why not? Because that's literally no people.
Yeah, Bryn doesn't take any chances too, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, so they also have a new shiny
Yeah. Yep.
White Tower flag with the flame of Tarvalin and all the colors of the Aes Sedai.
Yep.
And it seems all 7
Yes, it
colors,
does say 7.
Right? But this flag was sewn secretly in Saladar, was hidden at the bottom of a chest that only the sitters had a key to, and today's the day to pull it out.
Yeah.
Because they need all the pomp.
They gotta be fancy.
They gotta be
Look.
real
Yep.
Aes Sedai.
The real people.
The real ones.
Yeah. Which, debatably, like, does it go well? I don't know.
I don't know. None of this goes well. I don't think it would go well if they were actually from the tower either.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
I don't think anybody likes anything that's happening about Aes Sedai at all.
Yeah. No, that's accurate. Okay.
Okay. So now Egwene thinks about how she wants as many witnesses as possible today. So she's cool with everybody coming.
Yep.
She's riding at the head of the column with Swan, Bryn, and Sheriam. And Egwene thinks that Sheriam doesn't know any more of what's going to happen today than any of the other sitters, but she looks even more nervous than Swan.
Yeah.
But I think that has to do with what happened to her yesterday.
Definitely, probably.
Probably because it's somebody here.
Yeah, because Sheriam also, like, looks angry, maybe, and probably has something to do with the events of, like, literally last night, from what it can...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't she
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So keep your eye out, I guess.
I will. Or I'll forget completely.
That's true. That, okay. And then
Uh-huh.
I'll be like, hey, remember?
Yeah,
and you'll be
nope,
like, no.
I don't.
Nope.
Okay. So now this whole big procession is going out, and we get a description of, the entire Hall of the Towers here with their warders. Everyone's looking fancy. Everyone has their servants. Delana has brought Halima, probably because she's one of the sitters without a warder. That's
according to what Egwene thinks.
Egwene thinks.
It's actually really funny, too. So in this, like, giant block of paragraph of words that we kind of get bogged down with, Halima, with her coming, Egwene thinks that, like, she's technically Delana's secretary, but she's seen Halima's handwriting, and it looks as if it's, like, unformed.
Yeah.
As if a child is just learning her letters. And hypothetically, that's actually probably true, because during Age of Legends, right, they spoke the Old Tongue, and it was, like, a different language.
Right.
And if she was a Forsaken, had to learn this language. And also, if she is, like, Erengar, who we think is Balthamel, Balthamel got capped at the beginning of the first book.
Yeah.
So, like, hypothetically, she would just be learning how to rewrite the letters.
Yeah.
So.
Fair.
Just something to think about there.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Fair.
Just ragging on her for bad writing.
Well, if only Egwene knew she was Forsaken to go easy on her.
I know, right?
Goodness.
Don't be rude.
Okay. But then you know what we do get, though? The description of?
Clothes?
And?
Bella?
Nope. Clothes and?
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
Lots of it, yeah.
So, you know what I was thinking when I was reading this?
What?
I wonder how we can get more money.
Oh, sell the jewelry. No.
Remember the situation where everybody's
enough.
Like, we don't have enough money?
They need way more money than that.
Yeah, freaking right. Have you seen how... and you think that that's all they have?
Yeah.
They would get so much money.
Not enough.
Yeah, but, I mean, they could try. The solution that these Aes Sedai are coming up with, don't pay the soldiers.
Sell the fur coats.
Sell the
jewelry.
Sell the jewelry.
Yeah.
It's probably worth so much.
Yeah, maybe. I was more focused on the Bella thing because...
Yeah, the Bella thing. That's awesome. I'm not there yet.
No one seems to know that that's Rand's horse.
Tam's horse.
Well, no one's questioning, like, Bella, where'd he come from? Oh, the Dragon Reborn's farm.
Yeah. The horse reborn.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Very special horse. I knew from the beginning that was a special horse. I was
Absolutely.
like, I like this horse. I remember specifically talking a lot in the first 2 episodes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, she's
about how cool Bella is.
She's coming along to all the meetings.
Robert Jordan did an excellent job of making me really love Bella from, like, the second I met her.
Gotta, remember where she's at.
So she's here.
Yeah.
Swan's riding her, but Swan sucks at riding horses. That whole thing.
Bella's calm.
Yeah. Now, while they're riding, Sherry M and Swan have a little back and forth thing where they're, like, angry at each other. They're not getting along.
Yep.
Mostly because Sherry M tried not to get locked down by the oaths that they all had to swear.
Yeah, because she made them, like, Egwene made everyone swear to her, but then that also means you listen to Swan.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's, like, my voice for talking about stuff.
And now Swan is insisting on handling Sherry M herself.
Yeah.
And so that's, not a great situation.
Yeah, and they had, like, a pre-existing relationship because Swan promoted Sherry M to
Mistress of Knowledge
in the tower when she was, and then it's like when she fell, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And so now finally, after all of that, around midday, Bryn gallops off to talk to some scouts and comes back with news that they're basically already here at the meeting place.
Yep. It's time to go.
Already here. They were traveling for a long time.
It's like half a day.
And already I'm thinking, should have traveled here. However, by the end of this, I think I understand why Egwene didn't travel here.
You do you?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I figured it out.
You do.
I found some puzzle pieces.
That there's reasons for things.
I found some in the bottom of a puzzle box that don't belong to that one.
Okay.
Fits in this one.
All right. I'll hear it at the end though.
Okay. So Bryn comes back to tell Egwene the news, and Ramonda and Lilani come up too, ignore Egwene, of course, and Bryn makes his report directly to Egwene and says that the Andoran and Mirandian group have already arrived at the meeting place like they expected. They brought almost as many soldiers as we did, and they're on the far side of the lake. And so he puts scouts out to make sure that nobody tries any funny business around here, but he honestly does not expect any surprises.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, little things that happen, too, with the dialogue here, because Bryn is clearly throwing his hat in with Egwene, and he's making it very clear that he's reporting to her.
Yep.
And that's probably why Ramonda and Lelaine are also, like, really, really snippy with him.
Snarky.
Oh, man. And it's the whole, like, oh, you're going to be in even more trouble.
You watch it, Bryn.
They're just terrible.
And they're just, like, yelling at him, and he's like, as you say, I said, like, he handles it excellent.
Yeah, just, like,
I can take some notes from Bryn on how to deal with people that you don't like.
Yeah.
It is excellent. He should write a book. Just don't engage.
Yeah, don't engage. Don't react.
That's honestly the advice.
They're
That's
poking.
the book.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't engage. But at this point, Bryn mentions there's a new piece of information, and it's that Talmanis and about 100 of the band are here at the lake too.
Yeah, this
And
is like
then-
the little piece of information that almost seems like Egwene, maybe this was part of her secret plan, but then clearly it's not
Yeah.
after she meets.
Yep.
Like, did she know about it? Did Bryn know about them coming? But it seems like Talmanis just...
I feel like Bryn might have had an inkling,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they also threaten him, like, oh, if you knew about this, if you're messing with these guys too, or you're gonna get it.
You
so.
mean Ramonda and Lillian? Like,
Yeah.
they flip out.
Yeah,
They're
don't
like, how
like
did
it.
Talmanis and the Dragonsworn even find out about this
Like,
meeting?
it's not a secret meeting. There's another army, and then you're riding with 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Like,
and
come
then
on.
this is where Bryn really starts being nattered at.
Yeah, yeah.
And Swan snorts, and then blushes, and then Bryn smiles.
Oh, you saw that,
and
did you?
Egwene has no idea why he would smile at Swan like that.
Yeah.
Like, she's so close. She figured out the Swan being in love
Yeah.
with Bryn part.
You don't think that Bryn
But
is reciprocating
at no
at all?
point she
Yeah.
thinks to herself he could like her back.
Yeah.
At no point.
Doesn't cross. No.
And even later, when she like scolds Swan and is like, "I'm gonna tell him."
Yeah. It's like, oh man, it's so funny. It's like
Yeah.
I think maybe they both know.
Yeah. She's staying in his
Do you
tent.
know how he ended up in your army? Do you know how he followed her across the country?
Yeah. And do you know how good she looks now?
Right?
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
I guess. Not really sure, but
I don't know. I don't understand. I never really pictured Swan as that attractive. So,
okay. Well,
but
you know.
like, I guess
Yeah, she's
now
strong.
she is.
strong on the inside, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Like, she seems to be like at least
you know,
moderately
it's
attractive.
just there are so many.
Like, how good looking is Bryn?
Yeah,
You know?
I know. I don't know.
Moderately. They're both
Moderately,
like,
probably.
moderately.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool, and it seems so much more
Yeah.
deep than that.
They're not in like the young love stage of like they need, perfect looks. I get it. It's
Clearly.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fine.
we get it. We get it. Okay, so everyone arrives at the big opening. That's the frozen over lake. That's definitely thick enough
Totally,
to hold them
it's
all.
definitely, it's not
And
gonna.
now there's a big tent / pavilion set up in the middle.
Yeah.
And now I did a tiny little research
On the difference?
on the difference between a tent and a pavilion.
Does a pavilion have walls?
No.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the pavilion is a roofed structure with completely open sides and no built-in floor.
Gotcha.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Here. And that's why the wind is like whipping all around.
Yeah.
What they need is a tent with sides.
Or like don't meet in the middle of a lake because that's where the wind's going to get you.
Also that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have reasons.
Yeah, but also they could have put up a tent with sides, probably. They probably have that.
I don't know enough about tent making.
I know. Anyway, that's what a pavilion is.
Okay.
In case you care.
Cool.
So now, it doesn't look like they've been there long enough to set up everything properly, or they weren't expecting the whole entourage.
Yeah, all 18 sisters. Like, it's...
Sitters.
Well, I guess it'd be...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, off to the side, Egwene can also see the 100 men of Talmanis' army,
Yeah.
or Matt's army.
They're not hiding.
They're not hiding. They're just in the open. So Egwene, Sheriam, Swan, the Hall, and Bryn,
Yep.
and the Bannerman
Yep.
ride out on their horses.
Right? So, like, 20...
Also,
Right?
yeah, we didn't consider the horses.
I
in
consider the
oh,
horse.
you
I
did?
said that as part of like there's horses.
yes.
I mean, it's not. It.
Okay.
I think they're going.
And this
no
is-
one's worried about this.
This is the
I
confirmation
feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
that they didn't just like roll
Yeah.
out, or like army like elbows.
That's not very
Oh no.
becoming of an Aes
Regal.
Sedai.
No. So that's why maybe there is some magical reinforcement of this
There has
water.
to be.
Maybe. Or this ice.
This is in the entire series. This is
This
the
is
part
the one that gets you?
that gets me.
For me, it was the hair dyeing.
You know what? I need
It was-
temperatures.
It was the circus
I
hair
need
dyeing.
dates.
Yeah.
Of
For
like
me,
how
remember
long.
when it was so cold before and trees were exploding because of sap?
Yeah.
And I was like, those are the wrong kind of trees to be in that weather anyway.
Right.
Those trees wouldn't grow there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, also, the hair dyeing thing,
Right.
Remember?
Also,
the circus.
huge mistake.
Huge. Yeah, big mistake. Huge.
Okay. Anyways, ice doesn't break.
Good. Uno starts shouting orders at the soldiers to spread out on the shoreline, and then we learn the reason the lake was chosen, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So...
people can't, like, rush in and try and attack whatever. Safety reasons.
Mm-hmm. And now, as they approach, there should be servants rushing out to welcome them and offer them warm drinks, especially since today is the Feast of Abram.
Right.
But nobody gives a hoot about that.
Nobody cares.
Then, there's a whole thing where there's clearly more Aes Sedai here than the Andorans were expecting. So there's this whole hustle and bustle trying to find enough benches for everybody.
Do you want to know about the benches that are mismatched but still look nice?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. They oiled them or something.
Yeah.
Grease
See,
beeswax.
you do want to know.
Beeswax and good material for each...
little elbow grease.
Each Aja gets their own colored... in the middle of this lake.
With the cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
It's pretty impressive.
It's not bad.
And it's not like the Aes Sedai brought it themselves.
No, they expect it, though.
They just expect that. That's the problem here.
Yeah, a little. That's one of the
Which
problems.
leads me into my next point, actually.
Okay.
So, the seats are finally set up, and Egwene and the sitters take their place, and they look pretty good and fancy.
Yeah.
And Egwene is super, perturbed that they weren't even offered a welcome. And she gets on her high frickin' horse.
Yeah.
And thinks to herself, they are not equals, they are Aes Sedai.
Yes.
And I just think, whoa, Egwene.
She's the Amyrlin seat.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but
do you not know that she's one of them?
She's drank the Kool-Aid.
She drank the Kool-Aid before she even met Aes Sedai.
But it's been...
that is Egwene to a T.
It hasn't been too long, and I really do... think that we haven't heard Egwene really think like this, like that Aes Sedai are so wholeheartedly above everybody.
You know, that's
like
fair.
We haven't seen that elitist mentality from Egwene, I think, and if we have, I haven't noted it.
Well, not in this exact sense, but we have seen the whole Egwene believes the rules apply to everyone except for her.
Well, that's true.
And
but
that's
this
a part of it.
Specific, we're Aes Sedai and we're better.
Yes, yeah.
This is a
it's
whoa
very,
moment for me.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yes.
You know, okay.
Yeah.
Gloves are off, she's swinging.
I think that maybe also her insecurities
as
are
being
coming
a
into
puppet,
play
for sure.
Because Egwene notices a few of the nobles are glancing at her, and clearly they've heard about the, quote, girl Amyrlin, and the nobles don't seem very happy, but then they all slowly sit down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
With Egwene's insecurities about everything that's happening here, maybe that in of itself makes her be like, we're Aes Sedai, they should be treating me better, they should be treating us better.
She needs to play the part, because we do get that a few times this chapter, where she thinks, oh, they're gonna learn.
Listen, it's one thing to play the part, but it's another to think in your head.
She definitely does.
We are way better than you.
She thinks it, and
our
she's playing it.
Sucks. Yeah.
But she definitely needs to, because she needs the Aes Sedai themselves to see her also as more than what she is.
Right.
So.
Okay. So now we get that there are 4 women nobles and 4 men nobles.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of scowling and glaring going on from everyone.
Yeah.
And there are also a few glares towards Bryn because of who he is, because obviously he's Andoran.
Right, and it's like, oh man, he's here. So.
But also, he was publicly, exiled.
Yeah, very publicly, yeah.
So that's,
And so were pretty much
great.
all the Andoran nobles, too.
That
for
are
the
here,
most part.
right?
Well, so we've got Arathel, we've got
what?
Palavar, Amyrlin, and her husband, so.
We can talk about that specifically, maybe at the end of next chapter.
Okay.
That might fit in.
Sure.
Because of the reaction to the Elaine news.
Yeah. And we've talked about the Andoran nobles a few times.
Yeah,
especially
not that I
with the whole
remember
Dylan thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, the Mirandines that we get, they are all pretty much new to us.
Yeah.
But there's another Pater, so.
There is another Pater.
There is, yeah. It's I imagine it's kind of like Peter, right? So.
I guess.
It's not a uncommon. Robert Jordan reuses names.
Yeah, he does.
He definitely does, so.
Not often, though.
But, I mean, it's kind of more realistic.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before we move on, though, we do get that Talmanis shows up and plants himself on the opposite side from Bryn and leans casually on a tent pole.
Yes. Yeah.
Pavilion pole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I imagine, what we got married under.
Yeah.
Because we got married outside.
Yeah.
But the planner and me had it under a tent anyway, just in case.
Which was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was raining that day.
Yeah.
But then the sun came out.
It did.
It was
just
lovely.
in time.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay, so Sheriam starts things off by introducing all of the nobles, but not in the most formal way she could be doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not saying, like, this is the High Lord or High Lady, whatever.
But she's saying, like, enough that it's, like, kind of formal.
But it's clearly, like, it's a jab, and they know it, and she knows it, and it's just happening.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? The nobles aren't that happy about it.
Yeah.
But also, this is from Egwene's point of view, which I keep having to remind myself that she thinks they're not happy about it, but maybe they're just not happy about something else.
Yeah. They can not be happy about lots of things, though.
Okay. So you have the list of names. Does that matter?
I mean...
I'm sure you do. I'm assuming.
I have the list. Does it matter? Arethel, Palavar, Amyrlin. We knew about those three, plus Amylin's husband, Coolin. And then we've got Mirandians.
I don't like that.
Coolhan.
Coolhan
Luke.
Too close to Cooladin.
Okay. It's really different. It's not even close.
Yeah, but when you just said it like that, ooh.
Coolhan?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Mirandians, we've got a whole bunch of names. We don't really know much about them, so... We're not going to go into it right now.
Okay, and can I tell you something that doesn't matter at all?
Sure. Absolutely.
So, I thought that Palavar and Amyrlin and what's the other one?
Arethel?
Yeah, were last names, like house names.
Oh.
Like, because you know how, like, we refer to Bryn as Bryn, like, that's his last name?
Yeah.
And we're like, Arethel's here from, it's a high house. Arethel's a high house or whatever. Palavar.
It's first name.
I assumed last names. It's first names.
Yeah.
And their house names are different.
Yeah, flippity flops, a whole bunch.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Not that it matters at all, but initially
I'm
that's
sure
what
there's
I
a pattern.
assumed.
I don't know what the pattern is, though.
Nope.
And it changes between nations, too, so.
Yep.
Okay.
And it depends who's talking about
absolutely.
Whom.
Yep.
Yep.
The whom's never the right one.
Stop it. I knew you were going to say that. Okay, so Sheriam ignores all the glares and says, "You're in front of the Amyrlin seat."
Yeah. So she literally, okay, so this is the thing. She says, "You may present your supplications to the Amyrlin seat." And supplications, I had to Google it.
Well, I did too, because when Egwene was like, "You're not supplicants even."
Yeah.
Like, you're not even good enough to be that. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? So,
but supplications means the action of asking or begging for something humbly.
Right.
So Sharon's basically saying, you can beg for what you want in front of us right now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
even Egwene thinks to herself, you're not even supplicants.
Yeah.
Because right now, they're not gonna beg for anything. She's gonna tell them how it is.
Yeah. So there's levels to this.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Okay, the nobles really don't like this, and Egwene thinks to herself, perhaps they believed they could pretend she was not the Amyrlin at all. They would learn. Of course, first she had to teach the hall.
Yeah, secret plan.
Cool, Egwene, except all this really shows the hall right now is that you're like this bratty girl who's not going to listen to any advice. So, I think that's how they're going to take it.
We got to see the repercussions.
I just don't think this is going to go well.
We don't know how it's going to play out because, I mean, she was really excited about the position of things last time, and now she's like, we got to get back. So there's clearly a third part of the plan, fourth part. I don't know what we're on right now, but
yeah,
there's something more coming.
Yeah, you know what I would like to see? Egwene and Fael scheming together.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like that could be pretty wild.
They're also both of
the close to the same age, so yeah, because Fael is like back wherever she is, planning on kidnapping queens and stuff.
Yeah, and Egwene will be like, "Let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that."
Maybe.
Yes.
I feel like they'd be good. They'd play off each other. Be interesting.
Maybe we can kidnap
Put
everybody.
That on a post-it. That's the new storyline
dynamic duo
for unlikely pairs.
Oh yeah. Like how that ever...
Egwene and Fael?
Yeah.
One day, I'll put it on the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Egwene starts the first part of her speech by saying, there are ancient ties between Andor and the White Tower, and Mirandy, I guess you guys have been welcome to sometimes, whatever.
Yeah, we're cool, mostly.
So why are you here bringing an army against us?
Yeah.
Quit meddling in our business. We don't like it.
It's like, you're marching through our land. What are you talking about?
And the nobles exchange looks, and then finally, Arethel says, we're here because we don't want to get involved in White Tower business.
Yeah.
That's the problem here. We don't want you in Andor.
But also, it's kind of like the jab also that we kind of get a few times is like, we don't want to be involved in White Tower business, and you're not the White Tower.
Yeah.
Because, and that's the next part of her speech, is saying, we don't want to be involved, and you trying to come through here is going to make it look to the real Aes Sedai that we're supporting you by either like letting you through or like actually assisting you in getting through.
Right. And if it looks like we don't oppose the rebels, then we might get smushed by the White Tower.
It's
like,
bad.
No thanks.
Yeah.
And then the Mirandians realize that they didn't try to oppose the army going through Mirandy.
Yeah.
And so, like, uh-oh. But, anyway, Erythel does keep going and says the worst case scenario is that, you know, there are rumors of Aes Sedai secretly making their way into Andor with tower guards.
Yeah, that's important.
And nobody wants a battle between the two Aes Sedai factions in Andor. You're going to level half of Andor and destroy our freaking country.
Yeah, and the worst part of that would be not just Aes Sedai against Aes Sedai,
but then the Black Tower getting
Aes
involved.
Sedai against the Black Tower, because, like, what's that about?
Yeah.
Because there's Aes Sedai and tower guards in Andor right now.
Yeah, well, that's the rumor.
That's the rumor, but it's like, that's Elida's gang.
Yeah.
That's showing up finally, so that is close in proximity here.
Right. And can I make a side mention that this entire speech is directed at the sitters and not to Egwene?
Yep.
And Egwene takes that very personally.
She does. She does. We also get a little side note that's like snuck in there that Morel, Beonin, and Anaya did come here first to spread whatever message to hopefully like get ahead of things.
Wait,
before they got here.
Okay, well, no, what?
There's a little side note. So last chapter, one of the orders that Egwene gave to Swan was to make sure that Morel, Beonin, and Anaya were to leave immediately and get to the camp. And now here, Egwene's thinking, I really hope that they got here and that the nobles here don't spoil that by saying the wrong name. Like, bring up the fact that it seems like Morel, Beonin, and Anaya got here before this big entourage and did something and then snuck away without the entourage actually knowing, like the Hall finding out about that.
Oh.
There's some sneaky side business there's something going on that Egwene did to get ahead of things. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it was. We don't know if it happened, if it worked. And she's hoping...
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's hoping that they don't give it up by saying like, oh, we already spoke to Morel or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Okay, weird. Okay, I forgot about that
It's
completely.
like one sentence that's like snuck in there.
Okay. So we have Pelivar jumping in and goes on a rant about if he has to die defending his lands, then it's better to do it here. So you might as well just like...
Bring it.
Yeah. Whatever. And then the other nobles shush him and like sit him down. And then they all start bickering.
Yeah.
And Egwene knows that this is the time Ramonda and Lelaine are expecting her to give control over to them.
Yes, and pick one, and we don't know who.
And that is not going to happen. That is not how Egwene is going to run this.
Yeah, she picks none.
So, Egwene says, Elida is a usurper, and I'm the Amyrlin seat. We're going to Tar Valon to remove her. However, that is White Tower business, and also the Black Tower is White Tower business. So we'll deal with them when we want to, which is not now.
Yeah. And it's actually really interesting because it seems like a lot of the sisters in the Hall believe that they are still only like a handful of male channelers.
Yeah, do you want to hear my note?
Oh, yeah, okay, for sure.
So this is what I wrote down. And I said, but really some of the Aes Sedai think it would be expedient and convenient to just smoosh the 12 guys who think they can channel on the way to the White Tower and have that over with.
Like make a quick pit stop into the subway and
just smoosh those 12 guys.
Let's do it.
Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because what men would want to learn how to channel? That would be crazy.
Yeah. I would.
I know. It's just so, even coming from Aes Sedai, who specifically know what it's like
how good it is
to be able to channel,
yeah.
And the thing they fear the most in their entire life, that it makes them vomit to think about women who are stilled.
Yeah, to lose that.
Is to lose that and not be able to do that. So how in their minds are they so delusional about men who can channel?
Yeah.
Just because,
like
they might go crazy?
It's like they live in a White Tower or something.
Weird.
Right?
Yeah, I know that.
Ivory Tower?
Yeah, I got it.
That's why.
The
that's
saying.
why. Yeah.
I get it. But, anyway.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy.
It's perfect.
And then some of the men are also crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, though.
Yeah,
so some of the nobles are not frowning because Aes Sedai are starting to like shift around.
Yeah.
And Egwene continues monologuing.
Well, Egwene's going off script right now, and this was not part of the plan, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, but what are we supposed to do? We gotta be a united front.
Yeah, because basically half the hall is probably Ramanda's lackeys, and the other half is Lelane's lackeys, so they're all expecting something to happen, and it's what's going on?
And Egwene continues and says, I understand your concerns. I'll give you this assurance as the Amyrlin seat. For 1 month, we will stay here resting.
Okay.
And then we will leave Mirandy, but we will not cross the border into Andor, and Andor will not be troubled at all.
Okay.
Plus, blah, 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 because we're here in Mirandy, we'll pay Mirandian lords,
we'll buy
blah,
your
blah,
stuff,
blah.
trade,
We'll give you
whatever.
lots of our jewels.
Yeah, the jewelry, okay.
Yeah. And then Egwene can hear the silence from the sisters behind her because they are not expecting this.
This was not the plan.
No. And she ends her speech by saying, I've made my decision. It's your job to accept it or face the consequences.
Yeah.
And after a few more glances between the nobles, they finally say, fine.
Yeah.
But while you stay here, so will we.
Yeah.
Just
so it's
to make sure.
We're all going to hunker down for a month.
And they say this to the sitters, not to Egwene.
Yeah.
And Egwene thinks to herself that they think she just delivered their message.
Yes, yeah. All the words coming out of Egwene's mouth are actually
and
the
I'm
hall,
sure,
so.
and you know what? This is one of the times that I think Egwene's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like United Front too. The Aes Sedai aren't going to speak out publicly here.
No, and I think that the Aes Sedai also feel that here.
For sure.
And so now, what are they going to say? How do they... They can't just be like, oh no, she's crazy. We're not going to do that.
It's damage control, yeah, after the fact.
Because obviously they want to march through Andor.
Yeah, okay.
I went to the map.
Yeah.
Going around Andor
can't.
Is literally the worst plan I've ever heard of.
Well, you can't. There is no around besides if you get to the river and go through Kyrie and what's the plan here?
Yeah. You got to go around.
Andor's half the friggin' map.
Yeah, you got to go around and you got to go back kind of south, and then you got to go back up and around and up and around and up and around.
Let's talk
Traveling.
about it.
We're going to travel to get there.
Okay.
Duh.
Well,
idiot.
Okay.
We're going to sit here because specifically...
Secret plan.
Secret plan.
Break it down.
Specifically.
Yep.
In my opinion...
Yep.
Egwene asked Bryn, how much time do you need to rest?
Before you start a siege.
Before we start the siege.
So
literally we're going from here resting a month.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're jumping.
He informed her he would like a month to rest.
Yeah, he said 10 days at minimum, but if I had my way, 1 month.
1 month. So she's saying we're going to rest for a month and then immediately start a siege, and we're not going to go into Andor. So the only plausible scenario here is we are traveling into Tarvalin to start a siege from where we are in 1 month from now.
Okay, because how else would you not enter Andor and then not anger the Mirandians?
And then also rest your army for a month. That's the key. I bolded 1 month.
Okay.
I specifically was big caps. We're resting 1 month.
Okay.
And then we're leaving.
It makes sense.
And it all flows
So
together.
at the beginning of this chapter, you talked about the whole why aren't we traveling more?
Yes. And I think maybe it's for the element of surprise.
If they don't know about it, right? If they know about it, they don't really know about it because they don't use it.
Here's the thing, though. We could have also traveled here half an hour back, and I don't know if anyone would have known about that.
That's fair.
Potentially.
Okay, potentially.
Well, especially right now, we could potentially ride for half an hour and then travel back.
Yeah.
We don't have to,
It's we don't want to use the traveling all the time,
But I am
though.
understanding.
Okay.
I am getting that, and I think specifically, too, the biggest piece as to why we're not traveling right now is to not give too much away to the sitters.
There we go.
That's the thing, I think. I think because they need to be...
Before we enact phase 3 of the plan... We gotta hide it.
Travel into Tarvalin.
Wow,
Didn't I say that maybe something like that would happen?
I mean, it's been tossed around. But then we gotta convince the Hall that we're attacking Tarvalin in a month.
I don't know how much convincing needs to be convinced.
None of them even want to fight. They've been dragging their feet. That's why Egwene literally never wants to...
It doesn't matter what the sitter wants.
It matters if Egwene's not in control, and she's trying to get in control.
But guess who she needs to be in control of in order for this to happen? the army.
Oh, okay.
And she is.
Okay.
If the sitters don't follow her, does that matter?
I mean, maybe. I think it matters more than you're acting like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You need your Aes Sedai on your side if you're going to be sieging Tarvalin.
Well, we have a month to figure that out.
So, I mean, there's that. Like, you can't say that it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
It matters.
I know.
Okay.
I know, but it just, in the grand scheme of things, like, that's a small piece to figure out.
I mean, it's not like Aes Sedai don't overthrow their leaders. Turns out it's actually something they do fairly often.
Super simple to do, especially once they don't even believe our Aes Sedai. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying, so. Okay.
All right, so Egwene accepts their condition of everyone hanging out for a month, and she says, we'll have to depart soon to make it back to our camps before dark. But let's
eat
all
some baby cake.
Take some time to get to know each other. Yeah, and mulled wine.
Yeah, okay.
Because finally we get some refreshments later.
Yes,
but
phew.
Yeah, so she says, we're going to get to know each other a bit. We're going to have a party. We're going to mingle. A really awkward cocktail party that nobody wants to be at.
Hate it. It's
so
like
that
a work
we can
cocktail
avoid
no
misunderstandings in the future.
Yeah.
But first, that's my Julie Chen. Do you
like
yeah,
that? That's good.
But first, one other thing you should all know. The novice book is now open to any woman of any age if she tests true.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of grunts and murmurs.
Yeah, there are.
In response to this one.
Yep.
And then Egwene thinks, last night she was afraid she might never reach her goal, but now she's at least halfway there.
Well, maybe.
Almost halfway.
Almost halfway.
And, you know, it wasn't as tough as she was afraid of. Turns out she's good at this public speaking thing. She kind of likes this.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of makes sense why she wanted so many witnesses, because now that she said all these things on record in front of so many people, it's way harder for the Aes Sedai to step back on it, so.
Yeah, all right. But the other half still remains to get done.
Yes.
Get ready, do, done.
Okay, here we go.
That's a tip I use with teaching.
It's good.
There's what do we need to get ready? We need to do the things that we planned we were going to do, and then our work gets done.
Okay, cool.
It's a nice organization tool.
It's good.
Get ready, do, done.
Egwene needs it too. Let's go have a terrible, awkward cocktail party.
Terrible, awkward, terrible cocktail party.
Love it.
Can't wait. Good thing the Aes Sedai are dressed up for it, because it sounds like the nobles are not. It sounds awful. They're like in wool.
Ugh, well, it's the middle of winter.
Yeah, but they have like no jewelry on.
That's true. Oh, that's true.
It looks terrible.
Oh, man.
Looks awful.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick break and get into the next chapter when we come back.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, and we're back with chapter 18, A Peculiar Calling. And let me tell you how excited I was for this dice chapter symbol.
Oh, yeah.
I was excited.
You thought it was Matt.
I thought it might be Matt. I thought we'd perspective change or something.
Okay.
I thought we'd get something or a hint of something.
Fair. I mean, we do get
and
a
now
hint.
let me tell you, we
tamales.
do. We actually do get a hint that I am feeling positively about.
Oh, really?
In a negative way.
Okay. That's a weird way to put it.
The positive news is
he's not
dead. He's not dead.
Okay.
That's the positive news.
Okay.
The bad news is he needs help.
He does. It seems like he needs help.
He needs help, but you wouldn't need help if you were dead. So.
You know what that word? I'm
silver lining.
Yep, okay.
Over here.
Cool.
That's what we're looking at.
Let's
get into it, though. Egwene perspective, continuing on in the same scene. Now that the meeting is done, Egwene very quickly realizes that nobody at this cocktail party has any interest in talking to her.
Yeah, well, she's a puppet. She's not a real Amyrlin.
She's just a girl.
And these aren't even real Aes Sedai.
And now, at this point, I'm confused, and you can help me just a second.
Sure.
There are 2 or 3 nobles clustering around every sitter.
Yeah.
So now, are there more nobles coming out from somewhere else? Because I thought there were only 8.
Yeah, so you have your major nobles, and then you got all the little, like, bandwagon minor nobles who, like...
But they weren't here, were they? In the pavilion?
We didn't get that they were, but they either, like, came onto the ice, because it's like all the minor house. Remember when Rand had all that stuff?
Okay, you know what? But
tons of minor people.
Okay, so minor people come out, but also we also get that servants come out.
Yeah.
Because they start passing around the mulled
And I know what you're thinking.
Stuff.
The ice for sure isn't strong enough.
100% no.
Any second now. Yeah, there's too many people.
No, I'm not thinking that because I know it's magically reinforced.
I hate that.
You know what's funny? Usually, this is like you're taking the stance I usually take.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, realistic.
This ice does not make sense.
Yeah.
What is happening?
You go, oh no, these books are perfect. That's your stance always. Your stance is always...
Not today. This is my breaking point.
This is a marking day
in history. You know what? Okay.
Okay. Now, Egwene pulls Sheriam away for a second to tell her to find out about everything she can about the sisters and the tower guards in Andor. And Sheriam clearly doesn't like this, but Egwene gives her nothing and nothing. And go. So Ramonda and Lalani are both glaring at Elaine through the crowd of people, but neither of them can get away from the nobles they're with.
Yep.
And they probably can't publicly yell at her now.
But later. Ooh.
Oh, she's going to get quite the yelling at.
Tongue lashing.
I knew you were going to say that.
Tongue lashing.
It's the worst.
It is terrible. I hate that.
Or the best?
Yeah.
A week? No, just kidding. Okay. Not for Egwene.
Yeah, no,
in this situation, she's going to get yelled at. Now, Swan slips by Egwene.
This is my favorite.
And says, don't be a Chunla.
Yeah. It's going to be the new t-shirt, I think.
I think so.
Don't be a Chunla.
Because it means don't be the worst.
Don't be the worst and then get smothered in your sleep.
Don't be the worst.
Because you're the worst.
Man, that really is the worst. Because, you know, there is something to be said for Chunla that she kept trying.
She's still, you know.
4 separate plots.
And then they're like,
to try to get back.
Let's just kill her.
Yeah, it didn't work. But, man, ambitious.
But
also the worst.
Don't be a Chunla.
Don't be a Chunla. Don't do it. And you know what's funny? Because when Swan comes up and says, Chunla, or whatever, but she says the first name to Egwene.
Yeah.
Like the first name and last name. And for a second, I didn't know whether or not Swan was complimenting Egwene.
Oh.
Or telling her to be careful because I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But then I read the name Chunla and I was like,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember because we specifically talked about that. Because I thought maybe Swan was coming up going like, good job.
No, because here's the thing, Swan didn't know about all the parts of the plan here.
No.
Egwene didn't fill her in on everything.
Not on everything. Everybody needs to be a touch surprised. So finally someone decides they want to talk to Egwene. And it's one of the Mirandian nobles.
Yeah.
Sagan.
Yeah, Sagan.
Okay.
Sagan.
She says, do you really mean what you said about the novice book being open to any woman of any age at all? Any woman can become an Aes Sedai?
Right?
And like, no, that's not what she said.
I mean, it's kind of what she said.
The novice book is open, but not any woman can become an Aes Sedai. Well, because there are still the steps to getting there.
She's not saying that. It's just like the entry-level requirements have been taken away.
Extended.
Yeah.
Okay. And Egwene is super distracted because she spots Telmanis through the crowd and she really wants to go talk to him to find out what this whole deal is.
Yeah, and like up until this point, it kind of reads like maybe Egwene knew about that. Somebody knew. But it seems like she wasn't on the end for this one.
Maybe, yeah. And so now she answers super absently, tells the woman, yep, go ahead if you want. And Swan comes by again and makes a bunch of like fish and boat metaphors for an entire paragraph.
Yeah, it's a big one. There's like there's a couple.
Keeps rambling.
Yeah.
She's going on and on, clearly annoying Egwene. Don't set fire to the deck and
this is the whole Chunla thing. It's like you're gonna get us both murdered.
Yeah, and then Egwene just is so sick of Swan. And she says, how about I tell Bryn you're in love with him? It's only fair. He knows too, don't you think?
Yeah.
And then Swan sort of starts to go, And then Egwene says, you're an Aes Sedai, Swan. Try to maintain some dignity. Goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty, sharp. It is. Okay.
And also, I don't know if Swan thinks that was like pretty secret.
Yeah.
Like she didn't know that she was like giving off that vibe.
And we also technically don't know if Bryn and Swan have like, talk to each other about their feelings, because maybe they haven't.
Like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it is like a little... It's one of those things where, like, they know, but they haven't said it, but, like, they know.
Yeah. Or they have, but she doesn't think that Egwene knows. Like,
That's
no
true.
matter what.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down
There's
to.
options here, but Egwene's just doing her own thing right now, so...
Yeah.
And
then she
she's
says,
really
how
not
about
happy.
you go find out about those sisters in Andor?
Yeah.
And then she leaves to go find Talmanis.
Yeah, let's do that. That's the good part. Let's do this conversation.
Okay. So Egwene manages to catch Talmanis alone, and he starts out their conversation by saying, you changed a border today.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually quite impressed with her.
He is.
He has the insight to see that she's clearly acting of her own accord.
Yes, it does seem that way.
Which is interesting because it would be very simple for him, being on the outside, to assume that all of the Aes Sedai or all the sitters told Egwene what to say and Egwene's just saying what they did.
Yeah.
But I think that he gets it.
He does. Especially since when Matt left him, Matt's instructions were that, hey, if Egwene comes to you and says, we gotta bail, then you help her bail as fast as possible.
Right.
But, like, clearly that's not the situation that Egwene is in right now.
Right. Okay, because Andor and Brandy, like, their border has never really been clearly defined, but Andor has never come this far south and, like, hunkered down with this many troops.
And you stay for that long, it's like, maps are going to change.
Maps are going to change and show this as Andoran territory. And Egwene makes a comment about how she thinks Talmanis has been a good friend to Matt and to her, and she hopes he hasn't told anyone anything he shouldn't, which makes me think there have been other either messages sent secretly or secret meetings.
Yeah, well, we do know that Bryn was meeting with Talmanis up until the hall was, like, cut it out.
Okay.
That was happening previously.
Yeah, but that was a while ago at this point, and maybe he continued.
Maybe. We don't know what Bryn's done.
No, and we don't know what Egwene has specifically shared or not shared, because it does seem like there is a legit relationship here, and I think that more has happened.
Cool. More than nothing.
More than nothing.
But maybe she was surprised about him showing up.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It was honestly something I didn't think actually very much about.
Okay.
So, now Talmanis says he doesn't gossip like most men, and then he asks Egwene if she had this all planned out when she first sent Matt south, and Egwene's like, no, I'm not all-knowing. I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah, we get a timeline that was about 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And then Talmanis asks Egwene if she'll tell him at least where Matt is. Is he on his way to Camelin with Elaine, like he's supposed to be? Like, what's going on? And Egwene decides here to give him an Aes Sedai half answer so he doesn't go running off to Ebudar.
Yeah, because she can't be like, oh, we abandoned him in Ebudar, and then the Shanshan attack, so...
Yeah, and she knows that.
She does.
And she feels bad about it.
I mean, and like, if you tell him that, then he's clearly just, they're going to bail, and they're going to go help try and save Matt.
And, like, I feel that's what's supposed to happen.
Well, she's making a decision that she wants him to stick around, so...
Well, okay. I have some feelings about that.
Okay.
So, now, she tells him he was in Ebudar last I heard, but he must be hurrying north as fast as he can by now. And Talmanis says, I have felt something now for weeks, and the others in the band have felt it too. Not urgent, but always there as if he needs me.
Yeah.
It's weird following it to Viren.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the Perrin Rand thing.
And Matt Rand thing.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he needs me, or he doesn't need me.
Yes.
Or I try to leave, but I keep coming back.
Go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, does Matt need the band?
Yes. 100%.
So, I mean, that's what I was talking about.
180,000%.
Egwene is making the conscious decision to, like, if she didn't want the band here, she could easily make them all skedaddle by saying, we abandoned Matt and Ebudar, and they would literally run off to go and save him. Or try.
That, yes. But what she does next, I think, isn't exactly stopping them from doing that, maybe.
Okay. She does say, come to Tar Valon with me.
Because it's the peculiar... What is it? What's this chapter called?
Peculiar calling.
Yes. That's what this is, right?
Yeah, that's...
From that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me get into it a little further, and
Okay.
I'll tell you kind of where exactly I'm going to land.
Sure.
So Talmanis tells Egwene that Matt was wrong about her needing rescue.
Yeah.
Which is true. And says, you never had any intention of coming to me for help, did you?
Yeah, that was Matt's thought process.
And I mean, here's the thing. No, Egwene didn't have intention of that, but if it was ever necessary, Egwene clearly knew it was there.
Yeah, she did. It's like a safety net.
It clearly is. And there could have been a different trajectory where things turned out bad for Egwene while
like,
she's trying to resist.
We gotta bail and go back to the wise ones or something.
Or whatever it is. If her, like, safety is at risk, or maybe, like, Elaine and Nynaeve are at risk and she feels like she actually could benefit them by being there. Like,
sure.
Whatever the
There's
situation,
reasons,
I feel like even though she didn't intend to go for help, having him there would have been beneficial. Anyway, so Egwene tells him the Amyrlin seat can't go running off for Sanctuary, which, you know, is true, and she is making the best of her situation at this point.
Yeah, secret plan.
Yeah. And then she tells him that he has been a friend, and she appreciates it, and she hopes that that continues, which is further confirmation that there has been communication.
Cool, okay.
Since Egwene has been so open with him, he's going to tell her something.
Yeah.
The King of Mirandy, whose name is...
Rodran. So we know this guy.
Yeah,
So we've heard this name a few times before. In Fires of Heaven, actually, we learned that Lugard is the capital of Mirandy with King Rodran, but he's basically the king in name only. So it's very similar to like a lot of these like middle nations. And the lords do whatever they want. And Mirandy really only sticks together because if they don't, all like Tyr, Ilian, Andor are going to try and sweep them up. And then also in Lord of Chaos, we learned that Tylin and Rodran both were trying to get the White Cloaks to help them secure their borders.
Okay.
So King Rodran is now making a play to become like the first real king of Mirandy and unite everybody or conquer everybody by hiring the band for help.
Okay.
That's like the next major plot point.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And normally Talmanis says he would never consider, but you know, they're running short on money, and if Matt needs them, they might as well like stay close to Ebudar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Egwene, at this point, in my opinion,
confuses
receiving this information as Talmanis asking for permission or advice.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because at this point, I think that Talmanis is telling Egwene as a courtesy.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we're doing.
Like, we might stick behind. We might leave you here.
We're going to leave you here.
Yeah.
Like, not just might.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're doing this, and I'm letting you know as a courtesy.
Okay.
And Egwene is like, no.
Well, it also kind of makes sense.
Tries to tell him he absolutely can't. Tries to say you don't have permission. Tries to say, like...
Actually, I wasn't asking you. So.
Yes.
No, and that's
exactly.
fair. Talmanis's the orders that Matt gave him were to make sure Egwene was okay. And now that Talmanis sees that Egwene is okay, and she's not looking for Talmanis to come and save her, it kind of like mentally can check off like we did our due diligence, and Matt's not going to be angry at us for abandoning Egwene. So that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Like, yeah.
Also, something that's really bugging me right in this moment.
Sure.
Tylin is in Ebudar. You mentioned the name, and I couldn't find it, and now, okay.
Tylin.
Queen of Ebudar. Queen Tylin.
Tylin.
The one with Matt.
With Matt, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Because they both had kind of like shaky thrones.
Yes.
So they were looking for outside help to kind of secure their borders. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Because there's also the Amadicia king, who also has shaky
that's
power
because the White
Cloaks
Cloaks basically own it. Yeah.
Okay. Now the Shanshan own it.
And Gildan also with Alejandra is also super shaky. That's why I was saying like all the middle nations are. Well, yeah, and they always have been kind of shaky, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now, Egwene tells Talmanis, you can't. You absolutely can't.
Ah, nice. Okay.
That's a Harry Potter reference. No.
Oh, that's
You can't.
I assume that's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I don't know. The chess match.
Oh. Okay.
Ron, no, you can't.
Okay. Do you want to take a shot?
I'll take a shot.
You have to. You can't not.
Yeah, no, I thought it's funny. It's just like sometimes with Egwene, I hear Hermione's voice.
Yeah.
No. That's probably a terrible accent, but I just...
No, I feel the way that I think you felt when we were watching The Rings of Power.
Yes.
Where I was like, oh man, this is what's happening here. And you're like, okay. Like, I'm just going to have to take it, I assume you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
So yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'll take a shot.
A double shot, there you go.
Yeah. No, just one.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean a double?
I
said the
Lord
same
of the Rings
thing twice.
reference.
Oh, Lord of the Rings. Oh, yes. That
man.
went over my head. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, before we take the shot, do you want to hear a joke about clouds?
Oh, no. Yeah, I do. Okay, go.
Never mind. It'll just go over your head.
Oh my god, that was
Cheers.
terrible. Okay.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Okay. Okay, we didn't mention, we didn't get new shot glasses, but we're going back into our shelf.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just wanted to give a little shout out to Debbie Kloster for sending us her shot glasses from her hometown of Haarlem, Amsterdam.
Yeah, double A.
And I hope I'm saying that right.
Maybe.
Cool. Awesome. We love shot glasses from other places we've never been.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Now, back to this, though. Oh, right. Egwene is telling Talmanis that he can't do it. She doesn't give him permission. It's a bad idea. Mirandy's in turmoil. It's not even possible to unite them. She's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she does bring up some good points because there's a solid possibility that Rodren would betray Talmanis by, enlisting him and then using him as, a common enemy to unite all the little minor houses and stuff in Mirandy against Talmanis.
Yes.
So, and then if you are on one side, then everyone's going to face against you anyway. So, he should be careful.
Yeah.
But his point is, I'm also not an idiot. So, there's that.
Yeah. Plus, he's ready to leave before, a fight can start.
Yeah. They're quick, they're mobile.
Yeah, because I actually read it as that's the plan, is to use Talmanis' army to gather everybody on a common cause, and then allow Talmanis to bounce, kind of thing. And so now Egwene thinks several times that Rodren isn't that smart and might not be putting this together himself.
Yeah.
Whatever she was saying in this made me think that Talmanis had more of an input. That's how I knew this was already a solid, we're doing this.
Okay.
Because it sounded like Talmanis has already had input in what the plan is.
Yeah.
And
that's
might
fair.
be orchestrating it.
That's fair.
So.
He does seem like he's got an idea.
He definitely does. And then now, before they end their conversation, Egwene makes Talmanis swear they won't get pulled into a war in Mirandy, because that'll be bad for everyone.
Yeah. Also fair.
And he agrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's not the plan. He doesn't want to get pulled into a war.
Yeah, that's
He's going to do what he can to use what he can here.
Yeah.
Wait for Matt to rejoin, and then they're probably going to bounce.
Yeah, I think actually, if I'm making prediction here,
yeah,
they're bouncing before that. Because the
okay.
pull to help Matt will be too great.
Okay.
And then once they're not connected to Egwene by that
the order
duty,
from Matt, yeah,
that responsibility,
yeah.
Once that is gone, there's really not much else keeping them if they feel the need to go.
True. Good point.
Now, by the time their conversation finishes, everyone has noticed that she and Talmanis have been whispering to each other, and it's been going on a little too long.
Yeah. It wasn't secretive.
It was not even remotely secretive.
Yeah,
and
really sucked
the
into
entire time they're talking, Egwene is noting where everyone else is and who's talking to whom, and it's a whole thing. And so, obviously, they're not in any sort of secret location, and
no, it's just one section, one high top table at the terrible
cocktail party,
the workplace cocktail party,
and people are staring at them, and so she wonders if she just made things worse or better because of the stupid law of unintended consequences.
Yeah. Better in some areas and worse in others, probably.
That's
how it works.
So Egwene does a lap of the pavilion, And all the nobles are still sort of talking with the sitters, and most people ignore her completely. But a few people tell her she's quite
terrible.
lovely.
Yeah.
She has beautiful eyes, and she has a graceful carriage.
Is that like how you walk?
I think so, like how you carry yourself.
Okay.
And Egwene is not thrilled about any of this. It's very surface level.
Oh, yeah. It's super inappropriate to be saying this to the Amyrlin Sea.
Yeah. And the one thing Egwene is happy about is that her announcement about the novice book being open to everybody has sparked some interest, and a few of the women have been asking her about it.
Yeah. And the men are like totally avoiding everything.
her completely.
Yeah.
And in all of this, Halima is here taking note of things that are going on.
Yep.
And men are googly eyes goggling her, you know.
Oogling or ogling or...
Yeah, and even though it's like
goggling.
cold, her cloak keeps whipping open, showing her bosom.
Carriage.
That's cleavage.
I mean,
You're
the whole carriage is
confusing
like the
carriage
butt,
and
right?
cleavage.
It's like...
Oh,
That's-
carriage is your butt?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
It's just like it hypothetically could, you know.
I suppose.
Maybe. Now we gotta look it up.
I'm working on it. I'm just getting a lot of pictures for women in carriages.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not really finding much.
So it's a person's bearing or deportment, as in her carriage was graceful, her movements quick and deft, from French carrier, see carry.
Yeah.
So how you carry yourself.
Okay, graceful manner or carriage.
Yeah.
Different than a woman
Not-
in a horse and carriage.
And not the butt.
And not
Okay.
the butt.
Okay.
And not the cleavage either.
Okay.
But that's what Halima is showing off.
The cleavage.
She's clearly not an Aes Sedai, and
No.
men are clearly admiring her carriage. Okay, so at this point, Egwene is done being ignored by all the High Lords and ladies. So she cuts off Pelavar, and he tries to do like a sidestep around her.
Yeah.
But she like steps in front of him, jockeys him. You know, does the thing that people try to avoid.
Yes.
She does it on purpose.
Does it on purpose, yeah. Which is a skill in itself.
So he can't get past her, even though he tries to duck past her. And then she says something that she thinks will be like, ooh, this is good. This'll get him.
Conversation starter.
Yeah, conversation starter. He'll be happy with this.
Nope.
You must be happy to hear the daughter heir is on her way to Camelin. But his face goes blank and says, Elaine Turcand has the right to put her claim to the Lion Throne.
Yeah.
And
This is a big
Egwene
one.
is totally shocked by this because Pelavar had supported Morgase on her claim to the throne, and Elaine thinks of him as like this awesome uncle or
Yeah.
something.
So here's the thing. We know about Pelavar. We've got it before that he did support Morgase originally, and we had from Morgase's thought process when she was thinking about like, okay, how do I get back into Andor and become queen again? Who are the houses that will support me? She did think about Pelavar.
Morgase did?
Morgase did.
But
yeah.
did she remember everybody
No.
that she insulted?
No, she doesn't. And it's like through no fault of her own, right? It's not Morgase's fault. She got
Because I
compelled
feel
by a
like
Forsaken.
Pelavar has been insulted.
Oh, for sure. All of them have. But that's why they were backing Dylan. They want
Yeah.
Dylan to be the queen, but she's regent now. So we don't really know how they feel, except now we do. And it's like,
Not
sure,
good.
Elaine can put up and try to compete with everybody else, but it
See, I
isn't.
thought it would be a little bit okay.
It's
you
not.
know, and
it doesn't seem that way. Nope. So people are not going to be thrilled with a Turcan back on the throne.
And this is just like another thing that Rand is going to have to deal with.
But I mean, this is the whole point. It's like, hypothetically, Rand could say, Elena's queen, F you all, this is what's happening
But
because
that
I'm the
is
Dragon
the
Reborn.
opposite of what Elaine would want.
Nobody puts
Me on the
me
throne.
on the throne. Morgase
yeah.
had the exact same thing. Nobody puts,
Elaine
someone
on the
on.
throne.
Yeah, exactly. It's not how it's happening.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Elaine might be in for a surprise.
Yeah, and Egwene is surprised by this too. So now Egwene just has this new information also.
Yep.
Which is, this ain't going to be so easy, turns out.
Might be a succession war.
Okay, so Swan finds Egwene during this conversation and tells her they have to leave if they want to reach camp by nighttime. And Pelavar uses this as an excuse to
like,
duck out of this conversation,
bye.
and he's out.
Yeah.
So Egwene thinks about how frustrating this whole thing is, and she tells Swan to find Sheriam and tell everyone to get mounted now because she does not want to give them all a night to think on how things played out.
Yep.
she wants to have them all back in camp before the sun goes down.
She has to. She has to have them back in camp.
Right.
Because the next phase of the plan clearly has to happen like when they get back to camp.
Right. And it can't happen here.
And it can't happen tomorrow morning once everyone's like,
had time to think.
And scheme and talk to other people at the camp. It's like,
right.
It's got to happen right now. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's go time.
That's where this chapter ends. And it's,
Political maneuvering is fun and exciting.
It can be.
Just like fun facts can be fun when they're about the thickness of ice. It's good.
Some people are going to really like that.
You know what? I hope that I maybe saved a life. Just going to put that out there. Someone's going to think about the thickness of ice.
That person is really going to have to know math.
No, they're going to be like, I should look this up, or maybe I should just, don't go on the ice.
Also that.
You know what?
Also, don't go on the ice.
Just don't go on the ice.
Yeah.
I know it's summer right now,
but Roll or on your hands and knees.
Right. But it's like, why are you rolling on the... Just, don't go play somewhere else.
Yeah, but if you have to save someone...
That too.
Also, if you ever fall through thin ice...
Yep.
We were taught as kids, this is how Canadian we are, and if you fall through ice, and you obviously you have mittens on, because you're outside playing in
Hopefully.
the snow. You have mittens on. You wet your mittens, and then you reach out and stick them to the ice.
Yeah.
And then you can pull yourself out... That is a life-saving technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then roll away from where you fell into the ice.
Right.
Yeah. Don't get up and try to walk, because then...
Yes.
1 point is better.
Yeah, you
worse,
spread...
it's
weight
spread
distribution.
Out. That's it.
Spread
That's
your
the
weight
words
out.
I'm looking for.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
There it is. There we go. Okay. I'm looking forward to reading on.
Yeah.
Cool. So before you go and politically maneuver yourself into a much better... or much worse situation than you were just in, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Well, that's the end of another fun episode. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Essen, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, Megan Smiley, Jonathan Reese, Margaret, and Charlie Haz, with music by Audionautics. If you are interested in supporting us and the podcast, and also getting some really cool exclusive merch and access to early episodes and bonus episodes, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and us, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, things like that, for all things The Wheel Weaves, you can go to thewheelweavespodcast.com. Please be sure to give us that 5-star review, because it really does make a huge difference. And tell a friend about us, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening, because this really is part of the pattern now.